following is a paid product spotlight by Corteva Agriscience. Sean Haney here with RealAgriculture.com and Real Ag Radio, Rural Radio 147, Sirius XM. It's now time for a product spotlight with Corteva. We're joined right now by Corteva Senior Research Associate Tom Ernst, based out of the Edmonton area. Hey, Tom, welcome to the show.
Hi, Sean.
We're going to talk about a really important topic, especially for that region where you're located, but there are others, of course, as well on the Western Canadian prairies. We're talking about Clubroot today. Now, Tom, fill us in. Give us an update here based on 2023 information. Where in the prairies has Clubroot been most prominent?
Yeah, so our survey results are still kind of based out of the end of the 2022 season, but it's kind of as you outlined there. We're looking at most of the Clubroot being found still in the Edmonton area, throughout Alberta. It's been spreading, but we're starting to see cases in kind of northwestern Saskatchewan more and more often, and actually kind of across the prairies at this point. It just still continues to spread pretty steadily each year. Like I said, like you said, the Edmonton area, the Duke County, Sturgeon County still have the highest number of cases as far as I'm aware.
Now, when we think about best management practices and trying to be proactive here, of course, what should growers be doing in terms of having those proactive best defense strategies against Clubroot coming into their fields in their area?
Yeah, good question. A good IPM strategy is still your best bet. Taking everything you can do to kind of manage the disease is probably your best bet. I can't understate how important, going in with a good rotation makes a difference in terms of, the amount of inoculum in the field, the amount of spores that are available to cause infection. So if you kind of extend out your rotation, you can kind of help manage the inoculum load in your field. Next, you also want to kind of keep it in one spot. So anything you could do to kind of prevent the spread of soil, whether it's equipment sanitation or even working fields that, have had Clubroot on them last, and kind of anything you could do to prevent soil movement goes away in preventing the spread throughout your farm or throughout the region. And then good deployment of good resistance genetics is kind of like the cornerstone of our Clubroot management at the moment. Choosing good, effective resistance for your area, deploying resistance just in general is probably a big part of that IPM strategy.
Now, why should growers use Clubroot hybrids if their land doesn't traditionally face some of that Clubroot pressure? What's the reasons there?
Yeah, good question. So early on in the outbreak of Clubroot, we didn't have access to Clubroot-resistant hybrids, right? And so what was happening is you'd grow a susceptible variety on your field. Clubroot would be either present or introduced, and you get this huge explosion of the amount of Clubroot resting spores or the inoculum that was in the field, just because when confronted with Clubroot, the plants just produced more and more and more of galls and then the spores afterwards. And so the idea is if you stick a resistant variety in a field that has never seen Clubroot before, if it is introduced, then you don't get that, or much less likely to get that initial infection that will just explode in the field. And, even from a single gall, you can produce billions of spores. So, those little infections that happened originally, deploying a resistant variety to kind of prevent them helps manage that initial, blow up in resting spores that have happened in some of the areas around Edmonton, for example.
Now, where should growers be looking to seek some guidance and information regarding Clubroot?
You can contact your local sales rep or the retail channel where you purchase your seed. And there's a lot of really good information out there on what kind of resistance genetics are in each one of these, Clubroot packages in each hybrid. For Corteva, for example, we're looking at multiple different Clubroot resistant packages. And what we're aiming for is to actually have the ability to deploy different resistance in kind of a resistance gene rotation. And so the information about, what resistance genes are effective in your area or against specific pathotypes, that information is all available through your retail channel or through your sales rep. And I encourage people to check it out because you can make quite a bit of an informed decision on what resistance might be effective in your area, what resistance genetics to switch to mix it up, to keep the pathogen guessing and not probably try to prevent those race shifts that we've been hearing about in the field. So.
Well, Tom, very, very important information because harvest is here, but we're at that time period where people are doing their canola hybrid selection for next year, or it's quickly upon us. So these are important things to consider when selecting those hybrids. So, Tom, thanks so much for joining us here today on Real Ag Radio. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Sean.